Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 17 of Speak Your Soul. I am your host, Shantae, about to kick in another show. I think you guys are going to love this one. So, first of all, as I do on every Speak Your Soul, just want to say thank you so much to everyone that has watched, that has listened to all of the Speak Your Soul episodes thus far. We're on episode 17, so we're just keeping these things moving. So I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in every week. And you never know. Let's take this thing to a higher plateau. But once again, for those of you that are just tuning in for the first time to Speak Your Soul, this is my podcast where I kind of get to talk about a different variety of topics and subjects. So, for all of you guys that are coming in, thank you so much for joining us. It's another Wednesday, 5 o'clock, like clockwork. So, want to kick off this episode of Speak Your Soul and kind of just pay homage to some things, a big milestone. Hey, Kelvin. Just want to pay a big homage to Eric B. and Rakim. So this week marks the 33rd anniversary of Paid in Full. So if you guys are big lovers of hip hop like I am, you know me, I'm listening to Ninth Wonder, a little bit of everything. Currently, right now, I'm still listening to old school hip hop, but that's a big, huge feat. Also, Nas's second album celebrated an anniversary this week as well. So big things are happening. Hey, Kim, how you doing? Everybody, come on in. Welcome to episode 17 of Speak Your Soul. I am your host, Shantae. So just want to get this thing kicked off. It's been an amazing week in regards to music. And this Friday, I want to send a shout out since I just mentioned Ninth Wonder. His EP with Robert Glasper is coming out, a new project, and Terrence Martin. New project will be dropping on Friday. So those of you that are clamoring right now, I know I am, that are in dire need of some new music, this is the perfect opportunity to get some new, fresh music, some different voices, some different perspectives. Shout out to Ruben Vincent, an artist on Jambler Records. His album is absolutely amazing. So for those of you guys that are really pure hip hop heads that still believe in good music, trust me, there's still some good MCs out there that are really out there flowing. So just want to get that kicked off to start today's episode of Speak Your Soul, since that's what we do. We talk about a little bit of everything. We talk about music, we talk about art, we talk about photography. So there's just a whole lot of things that we talk about here on Speak Your Soul. Everyone, welcome as usual. 5 o'clock on Wednesdays. It's your girl Shantae. This is Speak Your Soul. So the topic for this week, I always drop on Tuesday. For those of you that are familiar with how I do Speak Your Soul, I dropped the topic this week, and this one kind of got a little bit of attention, and a lot of people were really jumping in my inbox asking me to really talk about this particular subject. So when I saw it, I saw somebody else posted something similar to it, and so it just kind of jumped out at me, meaning that I wanted to kind of dig into it a little bit, because I think it is a good question that leaves a lot of us kind of perplexed as to, are there any good guys out there that still, or do people actually believe in this? So this week's topic we're talking about is chivalry dead? And so if you look at the title of this particular live video, it says chivalry isn't dead, but it's on life support. And that's truly my my stance on that. I truly believe that chivalry is not dead, but there are a lot of key factors that go into why it's kind of hanging on by a thread. So I want to thank everybody that once again participated in my actual Speak Your Soul questionnaire that I put out on Facebook. Thank you guys. You guys had some really interesting topics that you guys, or answers to this particular topic this week. So I kind of want to get started because there's a lot that I want to discuss here, and I kind of want to break things down. Once again, Speak Your Soul is purely entertainment, so I hope this doesn't offend anyone. It's just entertainment. It's just me kind of sharing my ideas and my thoughts with everyone out there every week, this time at 5 o'clock. So the post that I actually made mentioned something about chivalry isn't dead. Hey, for all my sorors that's jumping in here, come on in the room. Let's talk about it. So this particular topic, it says chivalry isn't dead. You just started settling for a lot less. And so that particular one jumped out at me because I think a lot of times that in our lives we settle for less than what we deserve. So when I saw that particular one about chivalry, I was just like, yeah, sometimes we do. Sometimes we really do settle for less than what we do. Sometimes we get complacent with or comfortable with someone not doing something in our lives to the point to where we just dismiss it as though it never existed. So chivalry is just one of those things that a lot of people just, are they doing it or are they not doing it? What are the particular factors on there? So the first person, or the first couple of people that responded, thank you so much, that said chivalry ain't dead, folks just scared. So I can understand that during this day and age and this time with COVID-19, there's, a lot of people are not going out as much. And if they are, they're very cautious about, opening doors and touching things and stuff like that. So speaking of now, yes, it's difficult for you to want to be chivalrous in a time like COVID-19 because you just never know what's going on. You never know, who's touching what. You want to be courteous, but a lot of people at this point is kind of all, kind of keeping to themselves. They really don't want to do that. So that's not really what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about chivalry, I'm talking about before, let's say, circa COVID-19. What was preventing people, or what were people's take on, on chivalry? So Kafre, and I don't know if he's in the on here as of yet, has some really interesting topics to when we discuss this. He had a very, very good point. He said, no, it's not dead. If you were raised properly, this practice is common knowledge. It's either in you or not. So a lot of people believe, and I truly believe, that this is something that is taught to you from a little kid. You end up mimicking the things that your father used to do, or you end up mimicking, the way your mother was treated. So when you see people around you and as you grow up, opening up doors, opening up car doors, pulling out chairs, all that stuff, just the courtesy of that. When you see that, it makes you want to mimic that growing up. So you're keen to, what you do. You're very cautious, very courteous about, who you're doing, that for. Typically people only do that when they get in relationships, but chivalry is something that I've seen happen just with a guy that has a friend that's just a girl. So chivalry doesn't have to necessarily pertain to people that are in a relationship. It's just a courtesy to open up someone's door. I know a big one for those that are raised in the South is the men walk closest to the sidewalk, and the women are on the other side. All of these are different things that when I think about chivalry, I think about those particular things. Men sitting with their back towards the door, so they can see the door. All of those things are just something that I've seen growing up as a kid. So it's not new to me, and so I'm familiar with it. So yeah, as I got older, I expected those same things to happen in somebody that I'm with, or somebody that I'm, a man that I'm hanging out with, that they would have the courtesy to want to put me in that same turn. So I truly believe what Frey says. If it's in you, if you've seen it and you've seen that as an example growing up, you're going to want to mimic that as you get older. It's just a courtesy. You say, I'm sure those of you that have a dad that stayed on you was just like, no, son, you need to do this. Open up doors, open up women's car doors. You want to be courteous always to the woman in your life, or to girls. So, but also in that same turn, it's either in you or it's not. Some people are just really Southern gentlemen, or really that gentleman is in them. So it's nothing for them to open up car doors, or to open up doors, or to always kind of put that woman first. So that was a big one that I discussed. And like I said, the name of the topic of the show is Chivalry Isn't Dead, but it's on life support. So with that being said, one of the things that I think, and this is, like I said, this is entertainment now, but it just needs to be said. A lot of times in this day and age, chivalry is being replaced with people believing that that's a man being thirsty. And so that one right there kind of concerns me. Just because a man opens up my door, just because he opens up my car door, or wants to treat me nice, or, be courteous to me, pull out my chair, that's not a sign of thirst. He's not thirsty. Okay. So we get that wrong misconception, thinking that, because a person or man is treating me right, that, he's trying to talk to me. He's trying to do something to me. If you truly believe in what chivalry really is, it's not to hit on you. It's not to come on to you. It's literally something that was either taught to them as to be a gentleman when they were little, or it's just something that's in them. Hey, so mentorship is key for young men. I truly believe that, because it starts when they're young, seeing good examples of what, being a man and being courteous to a woman, and what that looks like. They can't be what they don't see. Exactly. So if they, on the flip side, so those images of what they see, treating a woman terribly, typically that's the kind of resolve you're going to get as that man gets older. So yeah, people that don't do chivalry or don't believe in chivalry, yeah, I mean, it's something that they probably never saw, or they saw people treating, their mother or sister or whatever in a negative way. But now it's when I say chivalry is on life support, it's because of two reasons. One, because we have so many, people that believe that, because I'm being nice to you, and because I'm actually showing you that I can be, that I'm courteous, that I'm nice, and that I have manners. You're trying to talk to me, you're trying to get at me. And that's not the case. Sometimes a woman doesn't know how to recognize that true gentleman, and when somebody is actually showing them chivalry, versus somebody trying to talk to them, or pestering them, or trying to holler at them. So these two things are two separate things. Understand when a man is just being courteous, he's being nice, he's opening up your door, he's letting you go first in the head of the line. Understand that that's just a man really being courteous, really showing you chivalry, versus trying to hit on you, trying to, get your phone number. That's something totally different. But I think over time, if a man just constantly hears a woman, I don't want to give you my phone number, or I don't want to talk to you, every time that they commit some type of act of chivalry, then yeah, what is a guy supposed to do? The guy's going to back up, put his hands up, and be like, okay, well, I guess that's enough is enough with that. I guess you don't want my help. And so eventually they just stop doing it altogether. Like, they just absolutely say, you know what? I'm frustrated. I'm tired. All I'm trying to do is be nice to someone. And they don't understand, that's what it is. They think it's something else. So truly, truly understand what chivalry is, what thirst is, and understand that the two of them are not the same. If a man is trying to be a gentleman to you, if he's doing certain things when he's taking you out on a date, he wants to make sure that if something happens, that he's got the first, sight to the door. If he's taking you and putting you on the inside of the street, so he can walk alongside. All of those things are things that were instilled and taught to young men at the very beginning. And so it's just instilled in them. So it disturbs me when people just, take that chivalry and turn it into something else. It's not what it is. Also, the double side to that is when women say, well, I don't need nobody to open up my door. Well, I don't need nobody to open up my car door. A person like me, like growing up at the age that I grew up in and the time that I grew up in, I am all for it. I'm a little bit older, so I truly believe in chivalry. I believe that it's a lost art. Someone wrote that as on a post. It is a lost art. Not a lot of people are doing it these days, or as some men would say, I'm being chivalrous to the wrong person, a person that doesn't understand what that is. But when women go, no, I don't need no man to open up my car door for me. I don't need anybody to, what are you doing? Why are you pushing me away from the street? All of these things for young men, like I said, were instilled. So you as a young woman, or you as a woman, have to understand, that's just how, if that's how they were raised, if that's just instilled in them, that's not a disrespect to you. It's not to demean you as a woman. It's not to say that you can't open up your own car door, or that you can't get your own door. It's just a practice, that a good man that truly cares for you or doesn't want to see you get hurt, they're going to do that. It's just instilled in them. It's embedded in them to do that. So with that being said, there's, once again, episode 17, chivalry isn't dead, but it's on life support, mainly because of those two particular reasons. There's always someone that is going to be too strong to receive or to understand what chivalry really is. Some women don't know what chivalry is. And so that's another reason why I'm doing this episode of Speak Your Soul. For those young women out there that really don't understand what that truly means, or when a guy does this, that's just to say, hey, the man is just trying to be courteous. And it's not something that we should denounce or say, hey, I don't know what you're doing, so I'm going to reject you. It's something definitely that we should embrace. I wish more and more men, are definitely teaching, would teach younger men this, because like I said, it's a lost art form. So men mentoring younger men, teaching them not only just, how to dress, how to behave yourself, but also in the presence of a woman or a girl, what to do, to be courteous to her. I think courtesy and chivalry goes a long way, but I can understand, fellas, if you got someone that continues to keep saying and rejecting your help when you open up the door, they're like, I don't need nobody to open up my car door for me. I totally get it. But that's why chivalry is on life support, because so many women don't understand what chivalry is. And then there are a lot of men that once they get frustrated with constantly having someone tell them no, or I don't need your help or whatever, then that pretty much kills the whole spirit of you even wanting to help out. So I've got a nice one from someone that chimed in that says, chivalry isn't dead. That's far from the truth. It's a lost art. It starts in how you are raised, but it's also a part of your heart and your intent in actually pursuing the person, short-term dating or long-term dating. When I pursue, I court the woman. Totally get it. A lot of people don't court anymore. So like I said, chivalry and courting and all that stuff, it is a lost art form. Not a lot of people are doing that, but I love that you're continuing to do that. He says, yet there are just as many out there who could care less because it's seen as senseless and they don't get it. And so that's another thing. It's seen as senseless. Like, why am I doing this? Why am I opening up car doors? Why am I opening up doors? Why am I risking myself and putting myself on the other side of the street and the woman is on the other side of the street? I mean, it's a courtesy. So then the feeling of being unappreciated sometimes carries over to one being less than chivalrous. After a while, it's a complete drop off. The question then becomes, is chivalry dead because it was never taught? Or is it dead because others could care less, so they see no point in trying to be chivalrous anymore? And that's pretty along the lines of what I'm talking about in this particular episode Women need to understand what when a guy is trying to hit on them and when a guy is just trying to be courteous or chivalrous. I see sometimes guys that are married still that believe in chivalry, that still believe in opening people's doors. And, as soon as a woman sees a wedding ring, you married. Why are you opening up my door for me? Da, da, da. That's because that's something that's instilled in them. But once again, it makes a guy not even want to do it because they can constantly get told, I don't need you to do this. Why are you doing this? They get questioned. So when you get questioned, all of a sudden the guy's just like, well, then forget it. I could care less. Women have misconstrued aspects, misindependent versus self-sufficient. That's exactly correct. So, and I talked about that, Sarah, on another episode. I believe it was episode 15 or 16. I delved into what being a boss is and what being a leader is, and also what misindependent is. As a matter of fact, thank you. So that was a good one. I appreciate. As a matter of fact, he just popped on. I appreciate Darylyn for saying that and for breaking that down for us, because like I said, a lot of men, chivalry was taught when they were younger, so they truly believe in it. They see the value of it. And then some people after a while, they said, you know what, I could care less about it, so I'm going to stop doing it. Many relationships that I've been in, yes, when they were younger, they did the whole thing. They did the pull out the door. But as they get older, dealing with certain people, then it's just like, I'm comfortable now. So that takes me to the actual post itself. So I think a lot of times what happened as far as with women are concerned is sometimes we get a little lackadaisical. We get careless in regards to a man being chivalrous to us. So once you start accepting him not opening up doors, him not opening up car doors, it becomes something totally different. So once you start accepting that as a normal thing, when he doesn't open up the car door, I think that man gets off the hook with and kind of chivalry kind of dies from there. So it really all depends. But I think we have to also keep people accountable on the way that we want to be treated. Hey, Frey, I told you he was going to come in the room. So like I said, me and Frey had a long conversation about this one because this one is big. And so going back to when you're a kid, you being taught about chivalry as a young kid, if that's in you or if it's not in you. But also women that believe that chivalry is the same thing as being thirsty also is a contributing factor on why men could care less about chivalry anymore. But it's not dead. It's just on life support. So all these defining factors. So I just got finished dropping this particular jewel. There are women out there that at the beginning of that relationship, that guy was opening car doors. He was opening up. He was trying to do whatever he could do to impress you. He was opening up car doors. He was opening up restaurant doors. He was, making sure that he had his hindsight on the door in case something happened. He was making sure that you stayed on the inside of the street. He was pulling out your chair. And somewhere in that relationship, you kind of start letting him off the hook a little bit. And so next thing you know, he's doing it less and less and less and less. So once that starts to happen, then like I said, you guys are comfortable. You're comfortable with him just doing whatever. You pop in on the other side. He pops in on the other side. When you go into a restaurant, you just walk on in. Don't really say anything. Don't even do anything. But me, I'm still old school with it to my core. I'm sorry. And even my dad to this day would sit up there and be like, he would wait. If somebody was picking me up in front of his house, he would wait to make sure that guy opened up that car door before I got in. But that's just because that's just a courtesy. So, we have to also make sure that if that's something that we want, that we have to continue to make sure that it's done. If you don't get resentful when all of a sudden the same things that he was doing in the beginning of the relationship, he stops doing. That's on him, but that's also on you. you have to also hold him accountable for the things that you want as well. So if you want your car door open, better stand there. And if he's standing there and he doesn't come back to that door, then you know there's something else. But just so many different factors. I do believe that there are guys out there that truly wholeheartedly, without a doubt, believe in chivalry. It's something that they were taught by their fathers or men mentors in their life. And so therefore, they're going to continue to keep doing it. But I do think that there are several little factors out there that contribute to why men don't believe in chivalry anymore. But it's not dead, it's just on life support. So someone said, it's not dead. I just have to remind myself to let a man do it. So once again, that that just goes back to women having the mentality of, I do everything for myself. I can do it myself. Frey said, what if she's hood radish? Hood radish, I don't know what we mean by hood radish, meaning that she doesn't understand or she's never had anybody in her life be chivalrous to her. Yeah, if you've had somebody in your life that's never been, that's never understood or knows what chivalry is, then yeah, they don't understand it. So they're going to think it is a sign of disrespect. When you open up, car doors, or when you open up, or when you're you're telling them to walk on the inside of the street while you walk on the outside. Yeah, if you have somebody that's never experienced that in their life, of course, chivalry is going to look like something completely different. And those women typically are the ones that interpret chivalry as thirst. Why are you on me? Why are you touching me? Why are you moving me around? Why are you doing this and that? Those women have to be taught. And that's why we need more outlets like this, so we can truly understand and make women understand a man is not trying to disrespect you. It's a sign of courtesy to do that. It shouldn't be a battle when it comes to that. Exactly. It shouldn't be a battle. If a man is trying to be courteous to you, is trying to show you, and trying to be nice and show you chivalry, it shouldn't be a battle, to show that woman that you care. But we have women out there that truly don't understand or absolutely don't know because they've never been shown. That's just like men. There are some men that absolutely don't know what chivalry is because they weren't taught that as a kid. They never saw examples of that as a kid. So when they see other people do it, they're like, oh, is that what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to, pull out the chair. You're supposed to open up the door. You're supposed to open up the car door. And it becomes like a revelation. But yeah, I mean, there are some hood rats out there that truly believe that, I don't need you, I don't want to do that. Or they have never seen a positive example of someone doing something courteous for them, which is sad, to be honest with you. It's sad that there are people that still don't even know what chivalry actually is or what it means. So that's a big one. But there are also the women that are so used to doing things for themselves. They're so used to being the strong, independent, I can do it on myself. I don't need any help. And they have to remind themselves, hey, you're in the presence of someone else, especially when they're entering that relationship for the first time. When you're entering that relationship for the very first time, you have to understand, you have to let that man be a man. You have to let him do those things. And I know you want to go and grab the door because you're so used to doing it, but that's not your moment. This is the time for him to show you, himself, to show you he cares, to show you, that he's trying to be that man in your life. So that's not the time. But it's so many women that think, oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. I'm so used to, opening up my own car door and all that kind of stuff that they're not even thinking, here's another person that's trying to get to know me. They're trying to be a part of my life. So you have to halt and think to yourself, man, maybe this is not the time for me to try to, be super strong and try to prove a point. It's a time to let that man be a man. Let him show that he cares, that he's courteous, that he understands. So that's a huge piece to it. So those independent women that are so used to doing things for themselves, sometimes you have to stop, think, pause. Hey, yeah, I know I can get it. I know I can do it, but it's not always about it. Remember, a lot of girls are taught not to rely on a man to do everything. She may not understand, yes, what chivalry is. Exactly, Kim. So there are a lot of people that a lot of women, they don't see those images growing up as a kid, or no one ever teaches them how to do that. So there are, like I said, there are many different factors, and that's why I'm breaking all of them down. There are many different reasons why chivalry is not dead, but it's on life support, because there's always going to be some type of misunderstanding. There's always going to be something going on, some type of defining factor on, why men are starting to be less and less and less chivalrous. So that's a big one. So thank you for that. So another one I love, this is for my man Rick that just jumped on. Rick, if you're if you're watching right now, he said, no, there are still men out there that are keeping it alive and being intentional about passing it on to the next generations. And I say kudos to you. Thank you so much, Rick. He has 2 little boys, and I know him from work. And so you'll never find a guy that's more, hands-on, that's all about teaching, that's a very loving father. And so he's a very chivalrous person when it comes to his wife. So definitely, that's something that, definitely in this day and age, as you have children, as you have sons, that you definitely want to pass that along. So kudos for those men out there that believe in chivalry, that are passing it on to their young sons, or if you have older sons that are putting it in practice right now. It's a beautiful courtesy. It just lets someone know that you really truly appreciate them, and you're looking after them, and that you actually care. And so for people that turn that down or make a man feel like they're less of a person, or or rejects that from when a man tries to do that, it can be heartbreaking sometimes for those guys, because eventually their attitude becomes, and forget it. I'm not opening up your car door. I'm not doing this and that. So it really truly becomes a problem when, you see less and less men doing it. So I appreciate those out there, those fathers out there that are continuing to keep the legacy going on, and are making sure that they're, doing that with their kids, with their sons going forward. It's just something that's really, really important. It's just like teaching your son, how to shave, or how, all the things, or how to cut his hair or whatever. It's just important that we carry this down onto our young. So someone said, if a woman is carrying herself with integrity, she will see chivalry. Chivalry is to be earned. It is not an entitlement. So that one right there really got people to thinking. So this person believes that chivalry is not something that is supposed to be given just automatically. It's something to be earned. So that's a good spin on that. I've never heard anybody say that before, but I guess it, just like with respect, is something that people feel that has to be earned. It's not something that you're entitled to have. But if you were taught how to be chivalrous and as that from a kid, it's just something that you just can't just say, oh no, like she gotta, you gotta earn it, you gotta do it, because it's not always meant for relationships. That's what you have to understand. Chivalry is not only, reduced to just what you do when you're in a relationship with someone. Chivalry is something that you can do with, with any woman. If you see an older woman walking down the street, and she's coming into a restaurant and you're ahead of her, opening up the door is something that, that's a chivalry that doesn't always require you to be with that woman or to be in a relationship. But that's something as a little boy that you were taught to do, but out of courtesy, to open up a door for someone. So that one necessarily, if we were talking about specifically about you in a relationship, that chivalry has to be earned. It's not something that's entitled to you. But when we talk about the broader scheme of the word chivalry, Chivalry applies to, to any woman, to any man. If you see a woman, you know, and she, needs help getting some groceries into her car, and she, you want to open up her door, help her out. That's just something that's instilled in you to just do. It's not something that's defined strictly by being in a relationship. You don't have to be in a relationship to be chivalrous. So that one about the entitlement, I can see where he's coming from. If we're strictly talking about a man and woman being in a relationship together, is chivalry something that's automatically given to do, or is it has like something like respect? It has to be earned. It's not necessarily entitled. So that one's a deep one. So someone elaborated strictly after that. Someone said, let's be honest, chivalry is viewed as weak in these women's eyes now. They always want a man to be conventionally traditional, but aren't trying to be traditional woman. Ouch. Ouch. So that one's a tough one there. So I equate this one as there are men out there, there are women out there that want men to be traditional and open up chairs and open up, car doors and, open up doors for them, but they're lacking the traditions of a woman as well. So to me, it sounds like this is one of the guys that constantly opening up doors, opening up car doors, only to be rejected or told, oh, you're trying to holler at me, you're trying to be thirsty to me. And so after hearing that over and over again, he's just like, well, who cares? Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that anymore. So a lot of times you get people that are hurt when it comes to, constantly being chivalrous and not getting it in return. I've always been taught it's nice to be nice. So I make it a habit to say thank you. Exactly. Thank you, Kim. So in this particular instance, it sounds like this guy was just opening up a lot of doors, opening a lot of car doors, and wasn't getting a thank you from the woman that did that. That is a courtesy, of kindness to return that back to that man that opens up that door. Say thank you. Say thank you. Don't be so tough. Don't be so hard all the time that you can't appreciate somebody for doing something nice for you. So it ends up with comments like this. Guys saying, well, I'm not going to do that. The women want a traditional man, but you're not willing to be a traditional woman. So, and he said they view chivalry as weak. I don't view chivalry as being weak, but that's his mentality. He's saying that when he does that, or when men do that now, they're being perceived as they're weak, which shouldn't be the case at all. But once again, that's the part that I mentioned earlier in the show. You talk about women that are super independent, that are just like, why are you opening my door? You have women that equate chivalry as thirst. And so they're just like, why are you opening up my door for me? You trying to holler at me? You want my phone number? And so you have the third one, the people that don't say thank you when these things are being done. So all of these things are stacking up against why chivalry is not dead, but it's hanging on its own life support. And you can truly, truly see that happening. You can truly see why men out there are getting, kind of bitter about it, because there are women out there that don't say thank you, please, and thank you. Like she said, it's nice to be nice. Say thank you if someone does something nice for you. Don't automatically assume that somebody wants something from you by doing courteous or nice things to you. And don't, always stop and think, let a man be a man. You don't have to be so strong all the time because you do it. That's something that you're doing for yourself. This is somebody that's coming into your life that's trying to make an impression and wants to do something for you and is trying to show you that they care. So you have to let that man do what he's supposed to do. So we got the last two comments. It appears that chivalry has been a one-way street, and that's not sustainable. So once again, that kind of goes back to a man opening up the door or doing all of these things and being chivalrous, but at the opposite end, there's no thank you, there's no I appreciate you for the things for the little things that they do. And so I'm one of those firm believers that say, please, say thank you, be courteous, be nice. Anybody that knows me knows that, I'm going to over abundantly show my love and appreciation for, when someone does something nice or something sweet. So I believe in courtesy. I believe that if you do something nice to me, that I'm going to at least say thank you if I can't return around and reciprocate that, what you've done. So, like I said, chivalry, so many different things, so many factors on why less and less people believe in it, less and less people are doing it, because all these different factors. They too independent. They don't even know what chivalry is, which is something that we definitely have to work on. Mentors, it's huge. It's huge for men that don't have a father, for little boys that don't have a father figure in their life, that they see or have some type of mentor. I was watching something the other day where they had a young man that was, doing some good things in his life, but didn't have a father. And so they asked, which one of you men would step in and be a mentor to this young man? It's super important, like my soror said earlier. It's super important for them to see positive images of a man in their life, even if there's no one there. It's super important to see that. So something like chivalry is something that you're taught, you've seen, because you had some type of father figure or mentor in your life. So passing this down to your children, to your sons, for future generations, so they'll know. I miss, the little days when they would partner up girls and boys in a class, and they would teach them how to sit down and eat together. And the guys would open up would pull out the chairs for the woman. They used to actually teach that in schools. So that was one of the ways that we understood and we knew what chivalry was. That's something that in classes they would teach etiquette, and a part of etiquette was courtesy. They don't do that stuff anymore. If they do, it's something that they touch base on, or that's something that they kind of skim over. Sometimes it's not always seeing it. Sometimes it's not seeing it that a boy develops it. Yeah, I totally get that one. You hit it right there. Sometimes it's not always seeing it. Sometimes it's not seeing it, and that a boy develops it. So it's just so many different. Once again, Frente all day. It's just some of these things are just the defining. There are so many defining factors on why chivalry is just less and less and less and less on a daily basis. You just see a lot of guys that are just could care less for it anymore. But it's up to us making sure that if you want somebody to be chivalrous to you, making sure that you're courteous to them and saying thank you back when someone does something, making sure that you think before you just go off and do it yourself. I understand that we are some strong, independent women out there, but if a man is really, really, really trying to make an impression on you, if he really wants to show you how much he cares, then you have to let that man be a man. Let him do something nice for you, and in return, be nice and say thank you back. For my women that believe that chivalry is the same thing as Lord, I just lost my train of thought, as thirst. It's not. But that also goes back to the example that was set, or not knowing what chivalry really is. My students tell me chivalry is unfair. The boys say they don't see why girls should be treated special when the girls are mean to them. Wow. So that's just to give you guys an insight, in regards, and I don't know how old your students are, but boys say they don't see why girls should be treated special when girls are mean to them. And so that's kind of the new age. That's kind of what we're living in right now. Like it's they don't see it. They don't see the value in it. They don't see the care in it. And so therefore it's going to go down as a lost art form. I appreciate those that are keeping it alive. But when you have young kids that and young boys that nowadays are just like, why should I do something, why should I do something nice or be nice to them, when they're mean to them. And that's sad that's where it's come to, because like I said, when I was growing up as a kid, it was something that we were made to do. You pulled out a girl's chair, in the class when we were taught etiquette and courtesy. So it's just a different age. It's just I guess a different mindset. But for those of you that are around my age that still believe in it, it's something that I do encourage that we mentor and continue to show love and appreciate, all of the people that, that are continuing to pass this on along to their kids. Like I said, so many people reached out and said, hey, I believe in it. I continue to teach my children or my sons every day to, that you are supposed to open up car doors, open up doors for women. So it's crazy that this is the age that we're living in, but I still encourage people. Chivalry is courtesy, and it's not to just the person, once again, that you're in a relationship with. Courtesy should be shown to, or chivalry can be shown to anyone. Just the courtesy of opening up someone's door, or when you see somebody coming along, just means a lot. That's an opportunity for me to work with my girls on self-respect and respecting others. I teach fifth graders. Okay, thank you, Kim. So, and that's around the time that, in the fifth grade, that they started to teach etiquette and courtesy to young men and women. I just think it's something that's probably not being taught anymore. So it's less and less. It's more in the background, but it starts with one. It only takes one person to show and to teach. So yeah, if those boys truly have a problem with not wanting to be chivalrous to girls because they're mean to them, then yeah, that's definitely something that there's a disconnect there. So on the girls' end, it's like, hey, you have to respect, show respect and show courtesy back to that guy. Otherwise, that they won't show respect or courtesy back to you. It's the same thing as opening up my door and just walking right on in without saying thank you as you get to be an adult. It's the same thing like that as girls treating boys like that when they're little kids. Then that boy grows up to be someone that doesn't believe in chivalry, and so they won't do it. So it's something that goes hand in hand. But it's sad that not a lot of people believe in it. I don't believe it's dead, because there's still my generation and a generation that came before me and so forth, that were still taught this, whether it was in school, whether it was a mentor, whether it was by their own father that saw examples or didn't see examples, like Frey said, that still make them continue to want to believe in chivalry. Chivalry is not dead, but it is on life support for these very reasons. So, for my strong, independent women, just make sure that you're saying thank you, appreciate that guy for those things that he's doing. We can't always be strong, so tough that we can't appreciate someone being courteous to us and showing us chivalry. So that's a huge one for me. It's not thirst. So that lets me know that you don't know what chivalry is, that it's something that wasn't necessarily taught to you. And so if it's something that you don't know about, then it's something that there's always going to be a disconnect for you. And as Frey said, for those, for the hood radish, for those people that, have gone on and on and on and don't know what it is, they're gonna look kind of crazy as this man is continuing to do nice things for them and they don't even know what it is. So it's crazy that all these different defining factors, independent, holding people accountable, all of these things are defining factors on why people don't believe in being chivalrous. So it's one of those things that it starts young and it just progresses over time, and it's something that it's a lost art form, like someone said. And then you have guys like this that as they grow older, they become bitter because they've been doing that, and now what is the value of being a traditional man? What's the value of being traditional and having these values if women on the flip side are not going to value them enough to even say thank you? So there's just a lot of disconnects. There's a lot of communication issues. There are a lot of different defining factors, but this is a subject that I definitely wanted to talk about today because I think that a lot of times people think it's just something that that is not being practiced anymore, and then there are some people that believe in it, that were taught it, that are just not doing it because of the very fact of all of those things that I just mentioned, that and that eventually they could care less about chivalry because they're not getting the respect back or the thank you back, or they get told, oh, you're trying to holler at me, you're trying to get my phone number, or all these different things, which is, it's not that. I appreciate the men that practice chivalry, that believe in it, because I believe in it. It's sad when you want it in your life, but you can understand why less and less people are doing it. And so I hope you guys have enjoyed. Once again, this is episode 17 of Speak Your Soul. You can catch this on Speak Your Soul's page, on my actual personal page. This will also be on anchor.fm/Speak Your Soul. This will also be on Instagram or IG. You can check out anything that's Speak Your Soul related on my IG. So SY Soul Podcast. I also have my Snapchat and my Twitter for those that have comments or questions. You guys continue to keep putting things in my box, giving me these particular topic and these thoughts and ideas. So I just want to say thank you to you guys that faithfully listen to Speak Your Soul every week on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and everyone that's tuning in. And for those that tune in every Wednesday at 5 o'clock to check out Speak Your Soul and to be entertained and to go over some really, really interesting topics, to talk about music, to kind of talk about anything. So as I do every week around this time, as we get ready to bring this week's episode to a close, just remember, chivalry isn't dead, but it is on life support. But everyone kind of has their part in making sure that we continue this kind of lost art form, as we continue to keep, when we have our children, making sure that we instill in them the importance of being courteous, and also, like Kim said, also girls understanding to respect, self-respect, and respecting others. Those two things go hand in hand when it comes to courtesy and with chivalry. I wish it was something that was still being taught in schools, so that we get more and more of this kind of embedded, versus counting on, the father or somebody having a mentor to be able to teach these things. But it's always something that I've always just really, really understood to be something that's very important to the culture, that we continue to keep passing this on down to our children, and that we truly believe in being courteous to one another. So with that being said, this is going to conclude this week's episode of Speak Your Soul. You can always, like I said, catch it on Speak Your Soul on Facebook. And if anybody has anything they want to drop me a line, please do. All right. And with that, as I say every week, don't forget to speak your soul. You guys take care. Have a good one.